What's up? It's Christina and Giselle. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, I make videos regarding motherhood and lifestyle, so if you're interested in videos like that, feel free to subscribe. So today I'm going to be discussing the tips and tricks on how to properly breastfeed your baby. Last week I made a series that I'm going to be continuing on breastfeeding, so if you're interested in learning the best ways to properly breastfeed your baby, continue to tune in. I want to start off by saying that breastfeeding is a personal preference. I'm speaking off of my personal experience as a breastfeeding mom. What's most important is keeping your baby fed and nourished and making sure that your baby is growing healthy. I am by no means an expert, but I am just speaking off my experience as a breastfeeding mom for 9 months so far. If you do have any specific questions, always feel free to ask your doctor after you watch my video, so continue to watch. The milk that is actually formed is called colostrum. It's yellowish and it's thick, and it's the first milk that is formed before actual lactation begins, and it's created during birth and sometimes for second time moms before the baby is born. It's considered liquid gold because it's filled with so many nutrients and antibodies to help protect your baby. So even if you're a mom that's decided not to go down the breastfeeding route, using colostrum will definitely give your baby the best nutrients in the first few days of birth and life. When it comes to colostrum, I didn't realize how hard it would be for me specifically to get my baby to actually latch on and drink the colostrum. Now, the first few days of birth, I didn't even realize that it would take me so long to actually form milk. So when I got to the hospital, I was prepared to breastfeed, but I didn't realize it was going to be so hard. Colostrum is really thick, and the baby has to latch so well in order to drink it. So a baby's natural ability is to drink milk and is to eat, but it doesn't have that natural instincts to suck. That is something that has to be taught by themselves after practice with the mom. So what I didn't realize is that it would be hard to get the colostrum out. So for some it may be easy. It all depends on you and your baby, and for others it may be hard like me. I know for me, I had to specifically get the lactation consultant and some nurses to teach me how to actually breastfeed and how to get my baby to latch and actually drink the colostrum. Because when I first gave my baby the nipple, she didn't seem like she was sucking anything out. And I was like, am I actually feeding my baby? So after asking the lactation consultant, she was actually able to help me take out the colostrum manually, which is by hand pushing it out. So I would grab my breast and push it out like this until it all came out, and it was really thick. So what you would do is you would either leave it on the nipple and try to get your baby to drink it off your nipple, or you would continue to manually push it / pump it out of you with and then when it comes out, put it on a spoon and possibly like a little cup and be able to give it to your baby like that. Whichever way comes easier, but do know that before your milk actually does come in, even though colostrum is so important and so beneficial for your baby, it may or may not be easy to actually give to your baby. So the next thing that's really important and is the major factor on whether your baby is going to be able to breastfeed is latching. So on my first day to the hospital after I gave birth, I did bring like a little boppy type pillow with me. It wasn't what I use every day, which what I use is called this. It's called the My Breast Friend pillow. Now you can either get a My Breast Friend pillow or you can get a boppy pillow. It all depends on you. But the reason I specifically like the My Breast Friend, and I'll show you guys, is because it has an actual lap that you could wrap around you. This is the back support that it has. It has an actual little pocket so you can put water or your cell phone, and you put it around you like this. And I found that this was really helpful for me because it held on tight to me and it wasn't moving. I've used a boppy before as well, and those are really cool because they're really big and fluffy, but I found that it moved a lot and it moved the baby around a lot. So whatever it is, I recommend bringing your own pillow with you. Some people may say, oh, don't bring it in your hospital bag, but I recommend bringing it with you because that's the one regret I did have. I didn't realize like how hard learning to position your baby would be for your first time breastfeeding, and I brought some pillow that I wasn't going to use regularly, and I found it really hard. My baby was so little. She was only 6 pounds 12 ounces, so I wish I did bring this pillow with me. So that would definitely be one of my best advice. So like it is one of the most important things. Now your baby may or may not be able to latch, and that's okay. There's several factors of why your baby may not latch, whether it's because your nipples are not prominent enough, it may have tongue tie, it just may not want to latch on. It's hard. Latching is something that you have to practice with your baby. I know for me, she at first did not want to latch onto my left breast. She would only latch onto my right. So in the beginning, when I was trying to breastfeed her, I would have to only give her my right. And that was frustrating. But eventually, after a little while, after a few weeks, I started practicing giving both to her, and I'll discuss that in a few minutes. But latching is really important. You are going to have to guide your baby on latching. You're going to have to guide your baby's mouth from nose to lip by pulling its head back a little. And based on the position that you're going to do, you're going to guide your baby's nose to mouth and be able to get the nipple to drop into the baby's mouth, kind of by making a fishy face. Now, that may come naturally to some people, or it might take practice. Just know that most hospitals do offer a lactation consultant, and all nurses do know how to teach women how to breastfeed. So I know for me, I did take a breastfeeding class before I gave birth, but mom brain, I forgot most of it by the time I did give birth. So I was able to ask a few nurses, and I had the lactation consultant come to my room 2 times, and she was able to practice with me on how to properly get my baby to latch on. I'll also leave some helpful resources that you can refer to so that you can learn how to properly get your baby to latch. If your baby doesn't latch properly, you have to unlatch her or him and get it to latch properly, because then it may hurt. Most of the time when you do feel some pain, it may be because your baby just isn't latching properly. So it's going to take practice. And I know for me, when my baby didn't latch properly, I would take my pinky and just like unlatch her and do the nose to mouth again, and make sure that she went over the areola. You should still see your areola, and make sure that your actual nipples in her mouth, but still actually see the outside of the areola. Just know that even if your baby doesn't latch, you still have options. You can either decide to express pump all your breast milk for your baby by using a hospital pump, or by bringing your own pump. You could decide to formula feed and continue to breastfeed and do both until your baby figures out whether it can latch or and it's a proper fit for you guys. Or you can decide not to breastfeed at all and just feed formula. That's fine. Like I said, that is best. Whatever works for you guys. Just know that if you really are interested in breastfeeding, don't give up. Continue to practice and give your baby some time. It doesn't exactly come naturally to them, as well as it doesn't come naturally to you. I know it took me like around a few weeks for it to feel natural to me. But you know, everyone's different. So like I said, don't give up, keep trying. But what's most important is that your baby is fed and you feel comfortable. There are 3 different positions to try when it comes to breastfeeding. I know for me, the first position I ever tried was the football pose. There's also the cross cradle, and there's also a side laying pose. So most nurses do say that the football pose is the easiest. It's when you take your baby on the side like this, and you hold it like a football, and they latch on this way. Cross cradle is when you have your baby in front of you, and side laying is good if you're deciding to lay down and you want to just be able to give your baby your breast that way. Whatever works for you. I learned that in the beginning when my baby was really little, the football pose was what worked for us. It may not work for everyone, but just know that there are options, and that whatever works for you is what's gonna be best. And you could also switch it. I know now my baby is 9 months old. She does cross cradle. There's just so many different positions that work based on the size of your baby, the age of your baby. So practice what works best, and if one works best, you do that one all the time. If 2 or 3 work best, practice with those. It's all up to you. So when it comes to what breastfeeding feels like, I'm not gonna lie. The first month, it's really hard. It may or may not hurt you. It all depends, like I said before, on the latch, on how your nipples are, on how hard your baby sucks, on how much you're actually breastfeeding. I know for me, honestly, the first month was really hard. It was a new sensation and a feeling on my nipples, and my nipples got really sore and cracked, but I was able to use organic creams and coconut oil and sometimes even breast milk. I know I use this cream right here, called Earth Mama Organic Nipple Cream. This was able to help with the soreness and help with the crack dryness that happens when you're constantly feeding your baby. I eventually did use coconut oil too, and when I was able to get some breast milk out, or when I did start pumping, I was able to put some breast milk on the nipples. It's probably like the best thing to put on your nipples when this happens, your breast milk, if you're able to get some out. It's all up to you. Like I said, it all depends on how you feel. You know, for me, after the first month, it really didn't hurt anymore. It took a little while to get used to, but it just became a natural thing that once my baby learned to latch properly, and once I got used to putting the creams, and even after, if you don't want to use cream, I also use ice packs to help with the soreness, and I would get ones that I would put inside my nursing bra. I'll link those below. Those really helped with the pain as well. But like I said, after a month, you really do get used to it, and now that I'm 9 months in, it becomes second nature and it doesn't hurt at all. So it is whatever you feel most comfortable. Supply and demand is how your body produces the proper milk for your baby. So it all depends on how much your baby is nursing, how much you're feeding them, how much you're pumping, whichever way you're doing it, your body is going to produce that milk based on that. So for example, if you're feeding your baby every hour, your body, your breast and your body is going to know, okay, baby needs milk every hour. Let me make sure I'm making enough so that baby eats every hour. That also goes for if your baby is taking one breast over the other. So in the beginning, it's really good to feed your baby both breasts so that both your breasts get emptied, because that is exactly how the milk supply and demand goes. If your breasts or body believe that your baby's only having like 5 minutes worth of breast milk every hour, then it's only going to think that you need to create 5 minutes worth of breast milk every hour. 5 minutes worth could be anywhere from like an ounce to 2 ounces. But if you're letting your baby empty out your breast, then your body is going to understand, okay, my baby needs 3 or 4 ounces of both breasts every hour, and it's going to continue to do that. Now for some moms, it may be hard for your breast milk to even come in the beginning, and that's why you might have to take supplements, or instead of supplements, again, goes for the supply and demand. The more you expose your baby to your nipple, or the more you're pumping, your body is going to naturally think, let me produce more milk. So I know for me, my left milk was a slow breast, so it wasn't producing as much. So what I would do is every time I was going to feed my baby, I would start with the left breast first and then give her the right. So eventually, after a few weeks, my left breast would produce just as much as my right. And I realized that after I started pumping, after 4 weeks after giving birth, I decided to pump early, which I'll talk about in my next video, because I'm going to be making a pumping video next in this breastfeeding series. So know that when it comes to your breast milk being produced, it all is based on supply and demand. So the more you're giving your baby, the more milk you're going to produce. Now I use a specific app that I'll link below that I kept track every time I fed the baby. So every time I fed the baby, I would mark on my app that I gave her the left side or the right side for how long. This app also has the ability to know like how many times, how many diaper changes you do, on whether it's sleeping. It has so many different things, which I love about it. So like I said, I'll link that below. But keeping track on how much your baby eats, it's what's gonna help you remember how much you're producing. So just know that it's all based on supply and demand. So if you're not producing a lot, you can make up from that. You can do it by just giving the baby more or by taking some. When I first started breastfeeding my baby, I know that I would give her each boob for supply and demand, and it would take around like 15 minutes for each breast for her to empty it out, because like I said, emptying out your breast milk is what's really important for your body to understand that your baby needs and your body has to produce more milk. So if you want to know how long it takes, sometimes it could take, you know, it all depends on the mom and the baby too. It could take anywhere from like 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Also, when my baby was a few weeks old, she started going through growth spurts, and from growth spurts, your baby starts to cluster feed. Now, cluster feeding is when your baby has to nonstop continue to eat. I know that no one explained that to me, so I found that really hard when I realized, like, why is my baby nursing so much? Like, I don't understand. But there is a point or several points within your baby's growth that they're going to need to cluster feed. So just know that, get ready for that, and know that it's totally normal to continue to feed. And even if you may not feel like you have enough milk, like I said, giving your baby your breast and by just letting them properly latch and suck on your nipples, you're going to continue to make more milk for your body to understand that your baby's cluster feeding. The next kind of milk that comes in after colostrum is called the fore milk. It's the first milk that is drawn when your baby first starts to eat. Now, this milk is important, of course, but it's not as, it doesn't have as high as fat and calorie content as the next milk, which is called hind milk. Now, hind milk is really important because it has a high fat content and it also has higher calories. So it's really important for your baby's health and potential growth. So that's why it's really important to allow your baby to continue to breastfeed off of you for at least minimum, in my experience, for 15 minutes, and to make sure that each breast is empty so that your baby is able to get the fore milk and then the hind milk in order to get the proper fat content and calorie intake in order to get its proper growth. When it comes to eating and breastfeeding, it's really important that you do eat a healthy diet. Now, the things that you eat may affect your baby and how they intake your breast milk. Now, I know, for example, for me, when I first started breastfeeding, I gave up dairy because I know dairy usually upsets my stomach. So I was like, if dairy upsets my stomach, it's probably gonna upset my baby's stomach. So I gave up dairy and I gave up certain food that I just felt that was unhealthy, like eating out as much, fast food, greasy foods, anything that could make you gassy is going to make your baby gassy. So it's really important that you just try to eat as healthy as possible, as well as drink a lot of water. I drank so much water when I first started breastfeeding, more water than I've ever drank. I mean, I was already doing that when I was pregnant as well. So just continue eating healthy and try not to eat foods that are fatty or would make you gassy. And also just pay attention to what you are eating. You may not even realize it, but you may have something and your baby just might get a reaction off it, whether they get a rash or whether they're gassy, have diarrhea, any of those things. So just keep a proper eye on that. And if you can't remember what you eat, make a food diary so that you can remember and know and learn from what you intake so that it doesn't affect your baby. Keeping my supply up, I made sure that I drink a lot of water. I drink around like 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water a day. By doing that, I just make sure that I have a refillable water bottle and I'm always constantly refilling it and drinking water, because that really is the most natural way to get your breast milk to form, because breast milk is filled with water. It helps your baby stay hydrated. Another way that I was really able to produce more milk is by eating oatmeal every day. I know in the beginning I would have oatmeal with some almond milk and some fruit. Now every day I make overnight oats, so it's a little easier as a busy mom to just grab and go. Also, a really good way to produce milk is by making like lactation cookies or lactation brownies, whatever you find. You can either find ones that you could bake on your own. You can find recipes on Pinterest. I can link below what recipe I know I use, or you can actually buy already made lactation snacks like from Milky Mama, who I follow on Instagram. I'll link them below. Really good advice and really good snacks. It all depends. And then you can also find other snacks like on Target and places like that. It all depends on you. Try out what works for you. I know that fenugreek is in most of those types of snacks and supplements, and fenugreek actually might make some women's supply go down. I know for me it helped mine, but for others it may not. So it all depends. I know I also tried lactation teas like Mother's Milk and Pink Stork. I still to this day drink Pink Stork every night, and I feel like it really does help with my lactation. It all depends. So like I said, you know, whatever works for you, if you want to go the all natural way, or if you want to take a supplement that really does help with your supply. But if your supply is good, then good. When it comes to nursing in public, I know for me, I never really needed to nurse in public because I had my baby in the summer. I had her in July 29th, and I was really home most of the few months that it was warm, and I didn't really have to go out in the public. And then by the time that she was able to go in public, it was cold, so I didn't really take her out as much. But I know for other mamas out there, you know, you gotta go out, you gotta live your life, and you shouldn't be ashamed to breastfeed in public. Now, if you feel a little uncomfortable, there's so many different cute and stylish covers that you could wear to cover your baby. But what's most important is that you're confident. Who cares what people think? Most of the time, women and other people are pretty supportive of breastfeeding moms. But if you do feel uncomfortable, just know that breastfeeding is natural and it's a beautiful thing, and you shouldn't care what anybody thinks. You should know that you're feeding your baby, and that's what's important. And if someone has something to say about them, then oh well, it's not their business in the first place. What's important is that you're feeding your baby and you're giving them the nutrients that they need, and they can kiss your ass if not. So when it comes to feeding your baby in public, just know that it's really up to you, how you feel comfortable. And the times that I did it, I just either covered up, or I would either wear a sweatshirt or a shirt with another like thin tank top under, and I would just pull up my main shirt, and just have my tank top under, and you know, just cover up. You don't even really see your boob. So that's probably like the best way to do it. I like the cover ups too, but sometimes I did feel like it made my baby hot or whatnot. It really is up to you, but just know that I truly believe that breastfeeding should be normalized in society, and we really shouldn't be caring what people think, because we're feeding our baby in a natural way. And what's most important is that our baby is fed, and other people's opinions really should not matter. How long will you breastfeed? It is a personal preference. It's all up to you. I always say whether you breastfeed for an hour, a month, a year, what matters is that you tried and you did it, and you were able to give your baby really good nutrients. So I know for me, I'm still going. It's been like 9 months and a week or two, and I still plan on doing it. I started by saying to myself, you know what, I'm gonna set small goals. I didn't know how long I could go. So for me, my first goal was a month, then 3 months, then 6 months. Now it's 9 months in, and my next goal is going to be a year. And they say that, doctors do say that a year is really beneficial for a baby to be breastfeed the first year. So if you can go up to a year, that's great. But if you could go up to 2 years, they say that's even better. So my first goal is going to be a year, and then I'll let you guys know how I feel about that after that. I probably will try to go for like a year and a half, but I'm not gonna lie, I would like to try for baby number 2 after she's around 2 years old, and I would like to get some time back to myself, because breastfeeding is an on-demand thing. I'm not gonna lie, it is like a full-time job in itself, and it is very demanding. As much as I love it and it's a beautiful thing, and I love that bond it's creating with my daughter and all the good nutrients it's giving to her, it is demanding on your mom, whether you want to, you know, breastfeed her, give her your nipples, you nurse her, or you decide to pump. It's a lot of work, I'm not going to lie, but I love doing it, and that's why I've been doing it for so long. So I would say my next goal is 1 year, and then after I hit the year mark, hey, maybe I'll go for a year and a half, we'll see. So it's really up to you. Like I said, whatever you decide to do, it's a beautiful thing that you even did it in the first place, and that's really what matters for you and your baby. When it comes to losing weight, I am one of the people that was able to lose weight when it comes to breastfeeding. Now, it does help you burn calories, and that's one of the major benefits of one of the reasons why I chose to do it. And I'm proud to say that I lost 20 pounds within the first month, and which is I gained around 30 pounds with the baby. So I lost 20 pounds within the first month just off of breastfeeding. So that got me really excited, and it also helped me realize that I wanted to eat healthier and take better care of myself, because I was producing something that was going into my baby. So I would say that if you're deciding to breastfeed, just know that, you know, you may lose weight, and that's great. So you don't have to rush into feeling like, oh, I gotta work out and get back into shape. The whole time that you're breastfeeding, you're burning calories, and your body is constantly moving and forming new milk, so your body is going to continue to burn those calories. But like I said, it's not for everyone. Some people don't even lose weight at all. It all depends on your body and you and the baby. Or make sure that you're able to speak to a lactation consultant if you're having any issues. Now, breastfeeding isn't always easy. It was easy for me, and because my baby was able to latch on properly and we were able to get the hang of it within like the first 2 weeks, month of her being born. But there's also a lot of other issues that could come about, like mastitis and tongue tie and your baby just not being able to latch. So just know that it's really important to get support and learn from other people. I know for me, my hospital offered free over-the-phone consultation with a lactation consultant, as well as my pediatrician's office offered free consultation over the phone. If you had to go into their office, they do offer consultations if you have the proper insurance. So just know that having the ability to speak to a lactation consultant is really important. But what was most important for me during my whole breastfeeding journey is finding other breastfeeding moms to support me. So within the first month, I decided to join a Latching group meeting at my local library, and I was able to meet and speak to other moms that were breastfeeding, and it was really so helpful just to hear the other people going through some of the things I was going through, or realizing that some people may have had it worse than what I was going through. So it was really full circle, and being able to go once a month and speak to other women or just hear other women's stories really helped in my journey and helped push me forward to realize that I can do it. Now, there's other groups that you can go to as well in your neighborhood. You should just Google it and look it up and see what's available. But support groups are so great for a new mom and for moms in general that are breastfeeding. And the next type of group that I would recommend is Facebook groups. There are so many Facebook groups for moms. So if you look into breastfeeding groups or you look into new mom groups, whatever it is, those types of groups are so helpful, and just being able to find a community and realize that other moms are going through what you're going through and they can answer your questions, and we're all struggling and pushing through together in this motherhood journey. So I found that really helpful as well as I found like other Instagram accounts helpful as well. Like Milky Mama LLC really helped me to understand the whole process of breastfeeding. They have like weekly, on Mondays she does Instagram lives, and they have like virtual consultations and things like that, as well as there could be other Instagram accounts that you can follow as well. The ones that I link below will be the ones that I follow. So just know that breastfeeding support is really helpful in your whole journey, and that if you do decide to go down this route, finding support throughout it all is so beneficial. Like this video and you learn breastfeeding 101, some of the ways to properly learn how to breastfeed your baby. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, or feel free to DM me on Instagram, or like I said, reach out to your doctor or your local lactation consultant with any questions or issues you may have. Breastfeeding is such a beautiful experience. It may not always be easy. It may be hard sometimes, but just know that you will get through this, and it's part of the journey of motherhood. And whether you decide to do it or not, it's all good. Just knowing that you're learning about how it can benefit you and your baby is what's important, and you will learn if it works for you or if it doesn't work for you. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. I hope you guys watch my next video about pumping. I'll teach you pumping 101 and all the things you need to do to learn how to pump properly. I love making these videos for you guys, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.